Welcome to another Foolish Thoughts episode. This is Joseph Barone, aka A Fool for Learning, and our foolish thought for today is clock botching. About 2 years ago, I was talking to a good friend of mine about his son, who was 30 at the time. Now, I will not say where this young man works or the type of work that he does, but all I will tell you is that the work is broken down into cases, and each employee has several cases to work on each day or each week. One day, this young man was asked not to go into the field, but to stay back into the office and to help with the backlog of cases. These cases needed to be entered into their system and then closed out. On the first day, he was able to input and close 25 cases, and on the second day, 20. This became an issue with his co-workers, since the average employee was only able to input and close 5 to 6 cases per day. Now, as my father would say, what gives? Why was this young man able to complete in one day the work that the average staff member took between 4 to 5 days to complete? Now, there can be many possible reasons for this, but this may be an example of one of the latest business trends called clock botching. And it was a term coined and reported earlier this year in the UK publication entitled Metro. Now, according to Metro, it is the act of making up time rather than making time count. You see, these are not simply people that have nothing to do at work. Oh, no. There's plenty of work for them to do, but they cannot get it done because they do not know how to do their work efficiently. And it may be due to a spiraling workload, back-to-back meetings that should have really been emails, or maybe simply being really bad at getting stuff done. It could be that there's a lot of noise and office interruptions, or maybe the employee doesn't even know when their peak performance time is, the time that they should be doing these tasks at when they're really at their best. But in addition, it possibly could be that the employee is burned out or there's low morale in the office. And I've discussed all of these in previous podcast episodes. But the US publications have reported on this business trend and have added one more reason. Employees who simply attempt to stretch out their workload as much as possible to make it seem that they are productive. And I believe that this is the case in the example of the young man that I gave earlier, that the employees, his coworkers, were trying to stretch out their work as much as possible. Now, employees who are clock botchers need to be very careful, as their employment may come to an end sooner than later due to AI. Now, why do I say this? Well, recently I attended a talk by a senior VP at my previous organization, and there was a question posed to him by a participant about AI. Now, this VP stated that it took a team of staff members a couple of weeks to pull together all of the completed work, the invoices, and payments for over 24,000 tasks on a particular project. However, when this was all done by AI, it only took a couple of hours. So, even though this term clock botching may be a new wrapper on an old issue, the business solution to this problem is not simply better training materials or a more robust help desk, employee coaching, or even giving a person a quiet space to working. It is something much more radical. And we are beginning to see this radical solution take place in large organizations with a slow but steady increase in layoffs of white collar employees, especially at the mid level. Could this be the very start of a major change in the way businesses work? You bet it is. And employees really need to look carefully, not simply at what they do, but how they do it. Something to think about. And if you learned something, please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe, or even share with a friend. This is Joseph Barone, aka A Fool for Learning, signing out. Remember, Learn, perform, succeed.